we really feel strongly that we need to create more opportunities for people to come to know each other. We used to laugh when we did our community programs with adults and say, oh yes, and a Republican can interview a Democrat. Well, of course, that's not a laughable matter at all. It's a very serious concern. How are we going to start understanding and solving problems and working on things together? One of the ways we can do it is we can start with our youth. They're our future, and it's imperative that we have them have better skills of understanding and knowing and not otherizing, of course not prejudging as well.
So how do we truly break down those barriers and those misperceptions about what students are like, what their school is like, what their futures are like? It really is about, listening for a change.
Having to talk to someone face to face is extremely challenging, and they were talking about how if they were waiting outside of school for someone to pick them up and their cell phone was dead, like it had no battery whatsoever, they would stand there. They would rather fake text, pretend they're actually talking to someone, than have to look around and perhaps talk to someone. They said that would be creepy, they'd rather die. I mean, they use really strong language about not wanting to engage with others. So yet when we put them all in the gym together, or when they came off that bus, they seemed to be able to do it.
Many of the kids had never been to that side of town. Many of the kids said, oh, we didn't know there was a high school over there.
I hadn't had any contact with anyone really from Rio Carrillo, and I didn't know much about the school at all. I didn't even really know that the school existed.
When we went there, I was very surprised. It looked very interesting. I'd never seen an indoor school before.
I didn't really have any expectations because I had no consensus of what that school was like. I really never really heard of it.
I was really interested in their campus because it's very different from Carrillo's, and so it was really pretty to see like the different side of where it could be like an indoor with like classrooms indoor rather than an outdoor kind of spread out campus.
Before they came, our students were worried. They had actually quite a lot of concern that the Maria Carrillo kids would think that our school was not good enough.
I feel like people fear meeting new people a lot, especially people from other schools, and after I met my person, I was very surprised.
Everyone at first thought it was like weird because here in RUP is all like Latinos, and over there it's all like white people.
I was really afraid to meet my person, and I just like the other people, just being surrounded by the RUP students, and I was just kind of worried.
People were like really anxious and nervous, like you could feel the vibes were like a little like stiff from people around you, but if you just like smiled at them, that was like an opening door. Like that's how you were able to like start talking and communicating with people. Like when I first saw her, like we didn't know each other, but I was like, hugs! Yeah. And I was like going at it, I was going all in. That made me feel very comfortable. And like I feel like as long as you make the other person feel comfortable, like it'll be good. Like you can make those connections.
Roseland University prep students felt that others viewed their school as less than in some way in terms of being a warehouse, a purple warehouse, I think is one of the perceptions. Another one was it was a largely poor school. And then the perceptions of Carrillo from the Roseland University prep students was that Carrillo was a snobby school, very privileged, elite.
I had heard a lot about how they weren't as diverse as other places, or predominantly white, I heard. But going over there, I found that it wasn't true, that there was a lot of diversity. And we did speak with sophomores, and we're a grade level above them. But I found that they're very intelligent and very fun, and they were very welcoming too. They seemed like they were having a good time. And I feel like a lot of people at our school felt like they wouldn't want to talk to us or meet us, but they were very warm and welcoming. So I didn't know much about them before, but after meeting them, I have very positive thoughts about them.
I made some false kind of assumptions, just based on the area that it was in, and just kind of not ghetto per se, but just compared to a place like Lincoln Valley, I just thought maybe a little sketchier, for lack of better words. But I haven't really been in that area very much, so it was kind of ignorant of me.
Everyone had to get out of their comfort zone. Everyone had to, risk that, putting themselves out there. Everyone had to practice communicating and writing. And at some point, whether they acknowledged it or changed it, they had to confront at least a stereotype that they had, something that they held. And they got to experience something new. A lot of my students had never heard of Roseland University, that was like where, who, what, and a few kids had some preconceived notions for sure. Well, quite a few kids came back saying, I really love their campus, they're so lucky, because they could hear that sense of community.
As we were driving up through the bus, the Maria Carrillo students had made a big poster, and they had a big poster outside that said, "Welcome RUP." And the kids saw it through the bus window and were already super excited. And they'd had a little, welcome on their marquee, and just that feeling of being invited to, someone else's quote-unquote home, and feeling really welcome there. I think most of our kids don't. Any kids anywhere in high school in Santa Rosa don't really visit other high schools, and certainly don't feel welcome or really invited. I think they feel like they're intruders or outsiders, or just a little bit uncomfortable to go to another school and see what it's like. So to have them tour us around and point things out and be proud of their school, I think it was really meaningful for our kids just to have that opportunity. It doesn't happen otherwise.
I got to know my partner pretty well off the letters because she was really open. So they wrote the first letter to us, and she was open right off the bat. So helped me open up and to let her see a little bit more about me through the letters besides the person. And then when it was a person, it felt like we knew each other. So it made it much easier.
I got to know my partner well to some extent. He was a little different from here. One of the key attributes that he had was that he always wore sandals, which I found kind of funny because at RUP no one wears sandals, at least no one that I know. So it's just like there's different things that they have over there that are not so common here, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I was really excited because I've never really done anything like that before. And I really like writing letters. I think it's super fun because it's different from just an email or a text or anything like electronic. And so writing and getting to know them just on paper was really cool.
We have very similar music tastes. That was a good one. That was a really good start. Yeah. Big Bang, 21, EXO, and also mutual friends on social media, which that was very interesting because weren't we the ones who first started the sending letter? We were the first ones to send it. Yeah. Okay, so when we did that, me and my friend Tyler, we were debating on putting our Instagram handle on, and so we were asking around are we allowed to, can we do that? And our teacher was like, go for it, I don't care. So we put our Instagram on there, we put our social media, we're follow us, like our pictures, so that's a really good connection for us.
One of the biggest things I learned is that we don't really have different groups, the school over there in that area and the school over here, that we're all just teenagers and we're so much more similar than we think, and that we really don't know what other people are thinking until we talk to them, and we can't just look at them and think that they're judging us, or we can't just judge them just by looking at them.
The networking in it is just so like interesting, and it takes away the stereotypes that you have. Because coming to RUP broke down stereotypes so hard for Creo kids, and I feel like it probably broke down some stereotypes of RUP kids on Creo kids. Because we thought of ourselves as preppy, privileged, how you said, and when we heard that, we didn't want to come off like that, so we were trying extra hard to hi, we're friendly, we're not like that. I feel like it's just good. It helps open their minds.
There is absolutely merit in trying to mix the groups in any way possible to try and kind of just bring people together and just share stories, become more acquainted with people from other parts of town, become more acquainted with people who aren't quite so much like yourself. People don't necessarily choose to do that on their own accord, but they're more likely to do it when they're provided a program like this one.
And so I just feel like it's so important. And because it's not happening naturally for our students, I think it's important that as educators we see this piece as valuable and we promote and nurture opportunities for our kids to have this be part of their educational process. Learning about our neighbors is crucial to becoming functioning, healthy, happy members of a society. And I really believe that strongly, that this is part of our job as educators to remember to bring that in. It's not just math and science and English and you know, it's health on every level, and this is part of community well-being.